Hello and welcome back. So glad that I can make your acquaintance once more. Girl, we're here to serve you your plate. There's a lot of plates that are actually going to be coming out. So make sure you save some room for dessert. That being said, I'm realizing that on the podcast there were a few things that I didn't talk about. But with this particular edition of the Table Read, it's going to be all over the place. So just bear with me. Firstly, I'm up here putting the finishing touches on my edit for the Basketball Wives review that I did. Which I'm like, I'm like halfway out the door with that fucking show because the whole way last night's episode, or what's today, Tuesday? Well, I guess technically it's Wednesday. So, was it Sunday? I don't even know when that fucking show comes on. See, my partner keeps up with all of that shit. I don't keep up with that. You know, he's like, oh, it's Housewives Day, or it's this day, it's that day, and then we watch the show. But, you know, just the whole way that whole episode went down is just like, I can't take it. And, you know, I'm noticing people are like, oh, I like that Tammy said this and I like that Tammy said that. I can't take it because my thing is this. I don't give a fuck what Tammy says when she didn't say it when we needed her to say it. Who cares what she says after everything has transpired? So, okay, so now she admits what we all already knew, that they were both wrong. Okay, so what? Because you didn't say it when it really counted. When we needed you to say it in front of Shani and Evelyn, you didn't say it. Well, all of a sudden now the fight done popped off and now you want to, well, y'all were both wrong. Well, if that's how you felt, then why didn't you say it that night? If that's how you felt, then why didn't you say it when Shani asked your funky ass? Well, why is Jackie mad if she didn't hear the comment about the grandkids? It's like this bitch, what it is she's just very good at masquerading, and it's just frustrating to me when I see people being convinced by her when I can see straight through her ass. Like, she's fake. And anybody it's easy to be on Jackie's side now that the fight is over. Now that you done got what you needed out of the scene, now it's real easy. I feel like in her mind, she's probably thinking that shit popped off and it could either go one of two ways. Either the fans are going to be on Evelyn and Shani and that whole thing. They're going to be on that side of the conversation, or they're going to be on Sania and Jackie's side. And I think she probably rationalized the fact that Shani and Evelyn in that whole conversation, they were on the wrong side of the conversation. So all she was doing was trying to save face so that she looked good. You know what I'm saying? That's how I perceive that, because it's like, bitch, you saying it now, but the time to say it was the other night when everybody was there. The same way how Sania said to Evelyn, like right there on the spot, well, y'all both are wrong. Y'all both went low. She said it right then. Why couldn't Tammy? Because she ain't no real bitch, and I ain't buying it. Like, I'm not buying it. I'm not into it. I'm not taking nothing she's telling me. I'm buying, because I'm not buying into it. But I digress. That's what I've been working on today. But then I got a text message from my good Judy, and he told me that actually someone that I did it, I want to say it was a table read. I talked about him in a table read that he passed away. And it's just so crazy to me because it's like, actually, let me see if I can remind y'all. Do y'all remember the story that I told you about the dude who I kikied with that one time, where that one girl at the event was like, oh, who's the Spice Girls? Or you were alive during or whatever it was, how he said it. He made it seem like the Spice Girls were so dated, and it was like, girl, fuck out of here. And then he tried to look at me like, oh, girl, isn't it crazy that they know the Spice Girls, as if I'm not old enough to know the Spice Girls. Bitch, I had the Barbie doll. Like, bitch, I'm a fan too. But anyway, that guy, he passed away. And it's just crazy to me because it's like, are you serious? Like, what happened? He said, oh, well, they found him in his bed sleeping, or he passed in the bed. That's where they discovered him. And I mean, I guess, truthfully speaking, I guess we really won't know if he was in pain. I would hope that he wasn't, but assuming that he wasn't, that's kind of like the best way to go. You know what I'm saying? There's like 1,000,001 ways to go. And if you had to choose, peacefully while you're asleep and not really aware of what's going on probably might be the best way. But it's just sad because number one, he was beautiful and he was so humble. And that's something that, you know, especially in our community, and I would say in general, but specifically in the gay community, the LGBT community, it could be superficial. And so a lot of times when girls, when they look good, they're attractive, and people are like really into them, they can sometimes, you know, opt out of actually socializing and engaging. Excuse me. I have my elastics in, by the way. That's why I'm talking a little funny. I actually need to get back on my regimen because I'm paying for this shit every month, and I didn't even go to my appointment last month because I was kind of feeling some kind of way about the fact that they was going to charge me $65 goddamn dollars for missing my appointment on some shit where it's like you get your money either way, but I digress. The point is, a lot of times when you have that type of scenario where it's like, oh, you're pretty, people like you, a lot of times people opt out of having to socialize. Like, bitch, I don't have to talk to you. Girl, you live for me. But he wasn't like that, at least not with me. When I met him the first time, he didn't tell me straight away that he was a fan of my work. But he keyed with me. And of course, I don't fucking mind. You don't have to tell me right out the gate, oh, I'm a fan, or even be a fan for me to socialize with you. Because first of all, I'm not even like a big star yet. You know what I'm saying? I haven't officially arrived on the scene, so everyone's not going to know my name. But at the same time, that doesn't prevent me or keep me from socializing when I'm in a social setting. So, first time I met him, we keyed. And, it's funny because after we left the club, my homie, that Mother Ashley chops when she gets the opportunity, we were in his car. And it was 3 of us in the back. He was one of the individuals in the back with me. And then it was my partner driving, and I want to say not my partner, excuse me. Well, I guess my partner, like my friend. But it was my homie driving, and then his partner was in the passenger seat. And well, anyway, so they were like king. It was a very friendly read, but they were like being very playful. And that's what's so sad about it, because he had such a playful, like, at least when I was around, I don't know how he was all the time, but when I was around, even though they were reading each other, it was clearly like friendly reads. And it wasn't like malicious, and it was just fun. And I noticed that he was using some of my phrases, like things that I made popular, if you will. And my homie was like, girl, no, you are not about to read me with reads that my girlfriend made up, Miss Thing. No, ma'am, no, guy. She was like, girl, I was there when he invented this shit, Miss Thing. So you will not use my girlfriend's shit against me. And everybody keyed about that. That was funny. But even then, he didn't tell me he was a fan. Because in my mind, I was just thinking, well, maybe he heard... Because once these things kind of get popular, maybe he heard it from his friend and he didn't actually know that I was the person who made it popular, or I'm the one who brought it to the table. So anyway, we get to the after hours, which I'm not a fan of after hours, bitch. To me, I feel like by the time I leave the club and I have a good night, let me get a cheeseburger and some fries and let me go home. But we had pumped it on down to the after hours, and this is when she pulled me to the side. She was like, I just want to let you know, I guess after she had a few drinks, she said, I just want to let you know that I live for you, bitch. I'm a huge fan. And I mean, it was very humble, and he was just letting me know that that he felt the L Word is coming back. Ooh, I loved that show. It's so funny because so many of my gay friends are like, I don't like watching lesbian shows. Why not? I don't understand that. Like, to me, it's like, bitch, I can watch any kind of show if it's good. I love the L Word. Sure did. I love Shane. She was one of my favorites, even though she used to get on my nerves too. But Shane was one of my favorites. That chick who did the flash dance, I forget her name. But the interracial girl, loved her. Pam Grier was a terror, but I liked her as well. I loved that show. And then I even loved The Real L Word. They had a reality show based off of, but I'm not gonna say it was based off the show, but I think the idea for it came from the L Word. And then they had The Real L Word, which I watched every season of. And then when I lived in Los Angeles, I met some of the cast and they thought I was hilarious. One day I was at the Abbey, and was it Whitney with the locks? Ran into Whitney and her girlfriend. I forget her girlfriend's name. It's been so long since I've uttered their names, but her girlfriend at the time and herself were at the Abbey, and I ran into them. And when I ran into them, what did I even say? I just feel like I was like, girl, y'all look amazing and you look good. I watched the show. I'm a fan. Whatever the case may be. I wasn't like doing the most. It's like I was letting them know that I enjoyed the show. And then I just started keying with them. Because that's just what I give. Girl, I don't give a fuck. Like, yeah, I'm a fan, but girl, let's key for a second. So when we started keying about some of the castmates, and they were like, bitch, you are hilarious. So then she invited me to her birthday that she was doing at Rage or something. I don't remember which bar it was. But she had invited me to come through. And she had lived right up the street, because I lived on Santa Monica and Sweetser. I could walk to Hamburger Mary's. There was like, I don't know if they still have it in the same location, but at the time, it was like, okay, Hamburger Mary's. If you walk out of the door, make a left, and then make a left, and then make another left. So 2 lefts out the door, walk down the street. Not even down the street, but like one apartment building over, because that's where I was living with that gay couple. And Whitney, I mean, I don't know if she lived here, but I would always see her like leaving the apartment that was in the same area, but just on the opposite side of the street. So it was like Hamburger Mary's here. I would go this direction. Whitney was walking that direction. So yeah, like my experience was cool. I don't even know how we got onto. Oh, because you know what? It popped up on my TV. See, Comcast got all these goddamn stories popping up on my screen, throwing me off. But in any case, yeah. So he came to me. He was just like, "I'm a fan." Da 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 da. And it was all love. And it was. Here's the thing. It was love even before he said that. But when he said it, you know, it was like, oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Because, you know, first of all, in my life, I can't tell y'all how many times I've been in scenarios where the one person who I no longer deal with, that nigga, it took him like almost a year before he told me he knew my work. Which is okay, but to me it's like, I don't see why that's that big a deal. Like, if you are around me and you know you're a fan of my work, why do you feel like you can't tell me that? I think what it is people feel like, oh, if I tell him, he's gonna think I'm gassing him up, and he gonna think he's all that. Like, by not telling me, I guess maybe they think in their mind they're humbling me. I don't know. But see, you can't humble me when I've already humbled myself. So you not acknowledging my presence doesn't really affect me one way or the other, because I know what I bring to the table and I'm confident in that. So whether you say anything about it or not doesn't affect what I'm doing or how I feel about what I'm doing. So it's like, and then if you give me love, I'll receive the love. But again, it doesn't really affect me long term, because bitch, I'm doing, like, I'm making moves. I'm trying to make things happen. Like, I don't really give a fuck. I don't really give a fuck. But I digress. The point is, when I saw him again, I want to say that was the first time. I feel like there was another time, like a few times in between. But I saw him that time. Fast forward, it was the conversation with the Spice Girls. And we keyed and it was just such a good laugh. What I liked about him was he wasn't afraid to laugh. Like, I enjoyed his presence because of that. Like, we would say something and he had the same type of vibe I had, where it was like, why so serious? Like, we're here, let's have a good time, let's laugh. And it's just crazy that I'm speaking of him now in the past tense. It's just crazy to me. It's just really crazy to me, because I'm just seeing his face now, and just as we were laughing, just, it was like a gut busting laugh, like, bitch, because it was so funny. Especially when he said, when I looked at him, I was like, girl, she looking at me like she think I'm her age, up here telling me, like, can you believe, like, I'm her age? Like, I'm not old enough to be a fan of the Spice Girls too. And he told me, when he said to me, girl, let them think what they want. He was like, because they still think I'm 24, whatever the age he threw in. And I had to think about it, because I'm like, wait, what do you mean they think? And then I looked at his face and it clicked. I'm like, bitch, so he was clearly much older than what people thought. Because when I first met him, they was like, oh, he's the baby in the bunch. And I remember thinking, oh, he's the baby? Like, I didn't think he was older, like, a lot older than us. But I did think he was at least my age. But when they said he was the baby, I was like, oh, okay. And then I moved on. But when he said that to me, it was almost like he was telling me, like, girl, let them think what they want. They still think I'm 24. And when it clicked for me, bitch, I hollered. I was, like, hollering because it was so funny to me. And he knew, and he laughed about it. Like, he was screaming right there with me, like, bitch, because it was so funny. And we was right there in a little corner, like, by the fridge, like, and I was, like, grabbing his arm, like, bitch, you motherfucking like, it was hilarious to me. It was so hilarious. And it's like, I just feel like that type of energy, I don't come across a lot, period. Not even here in Atlanta, not just LGBT, but just in general, you don't come across energy like that a lot. So it's just, I just hope, who knows what it is. I mean, we're all going to at some point make that trek, but I hope he's at peace, and I hope his energy, his essence, I hope the transition is peaceful and not, I don't know. I just, he's in my thoughts right now, because that's just crazy to me. I mean, that's just crazy to me. I don't fucking know what else to say about that. But, you know, rest in peace, my love. Just be good wherever you went. And we all gotta go. So, you know, all I say is, for people that I encounter, girl, if you can remember once you get to where you're going, girl, just if you could pull a few strings, you know, so that I can get through customs, girl. You know what I mean? So that I don't have to be waiting. You know what I mean? Because I'm already dead, girl. I ain't trying to sit here waiting, girl. Like, girl, I have appointments. I have people to see. Girl, I want to see, is Marilyn, where's Selena? Like, I want to see the girl. So the quicker we can get through customs, the quicker I can move on about my day. But I digress. Bismillah. So that being said, let's address And now here they go with another story. Did this already pop up? Jesse Williams is dating Minka Kelly. I find that to be real interesting. And you know what? I'm gonna just say this real quick. I'm not saying that it's wrong for him to date Minka Kelly, because it's not. It is what it is. Like, I don't really give a fuck. But it is interesting to me that, is he the one, and I could be wrong, maybe it's a different person, it could be a totally different person, but is he the one that was like so pro-black, like, oh, black love, black lives, black this, black that, and now you dating a white chick? I always find that funny when people are like so pro-black and like so, oh, black love, you have to water the plant, you gotta lift up our black queens, and then they turn up with a white woman. Like, I would just be like, girl, love is love. Like, pay it. Like, whether you be dating a white girl, black girl, Asian, Indian, whatever it is, if you fall in love, girl, you fall in love. But it is interesting to me when someone is so pro something and then they end up being in a predicament where it's opposite that. But that's a sidebar. I really don't give a fuck, truthfully. It says Lady Gaga postpones first show of tour. Another conversation I really don't give a fuck about. That being said, let's move on down to Rob Kardashian and China. I think someone in the comments said they wanted me to address that, so let's go ahead on and let have. I feel as though Rob, number one, I'm concerned about him. I think there's something going on, and I can be so wrong about that, but he seems like he's suffering, like there's something, because he used to be cute, he let himself go, and what's crazy about it is he's young and he has money. There's no reason why you got to be like that. To me, that's indicative of how he feels inside. Inside, it's everything is chaos. And so that's what you're seeing on the outside. When he first got with China, I knew that was a mistake. Right out the gate, I knew it was a mistake. I said, he's about to ruin his life dealing with this bitch. Now, I guess now that he has the daughter out of the deal, he may be like, well, it was worth it to get Dream. I think that's the child's name. But outside of that, I feel like, yeah, you got Dream, but you got to deal with this fucking bitch. But see, where he went wrong was releasing those pictures. And I do think he should be prosecuted for doing that. I don't even like Blac Chyna, but that to me was wrong. Because even if she did cheat on you, then even if you was going to expose her and say, this bitch cheated on me, she did whatever she did, I would even be for that. But for you to release this bitch naked pictures, I'm not for it. Like, I feel like, to me, I view that as a version of sexual assault. I don't know how y'all feel about it, and I don't even know if legally the law views it that way, but that's how I view it. When that whole thing happened, when Jennifer Lawrence and all these other girls' naked pictures got hacked, to this day I haven't seen those pictures. The only time I will ever get curious and look at it, celebrities' naked pictures, is if they themselves have leaked the picture. So like when Amber Rose put the picture out, that was her choice. So obviously she's choosing to be seen in this way. But anytime an individual has their pictures hijacked, someone like hacks into the system in some kind of way, releases their pictures, I never tune in, because to me it's wrong. And what used to irk me about that is when people say, well, if you don't want the pictures out, don't take them. How can you be up here talking about no means no and never blame the victim, but yet here you go? Because to me, let's just say we were dating and we were exchanging pictures. We break up for whatever reason, you mad with me, and you decide you want to release the pictures out into the world to embarrass me. The bottom line is, I didn't give the world consent. I gave you consent. And the picture was for you. When you decide you want to take that picture and release it into the world to hurt me, that's you doing something against my will. You're doing something to me that could adversely affect my way of living. Like, let's just say if I was like a Disney star or some shit, or a Nickelodeon person, or somebody that's like that type of thing, and now you got me up here with my legs spread open, and you got, oh, let me spread my cheeks and all this other crazy shit what you talking about. Okay, that's some shit where now it's like, oh, my show was canceled, because I can't be on no kids show with my titties all out and with my ass crack spread open and all this shit what you talking about. So you're affecting my way of earning a living. Like, I just feel like, to me, it's not rape, but it is a lesser assault. Like, it is assault, but it's not the same type of assault. Like, it's not a physical rape, but you have to think of it. Like, I was watching a documentary on Netflix, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was like, the premise of it was the effects of rape in communities where the victim is not supported. So they had the one girl who had gotten raped, the little girl, or the teenager, who had gotten raped by a football star, and instead of the community rallying around her to be like, girl, we're here for you, we're gonna support you and whatever, they took his side. And she went from being like this young innocent girl to now she's like, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with this, but I'm just making the point. She went from like this young innocent girl to being like this gothic, all these piercings. Like, it's clear to me, in my opinion, her doing that is her way of taking back control. Like, this is my body. I can do with it whatever I choose. That's how I perceive stuff like that. Anytime I hear about a person being a victim of any type of some situation, especially when it goes public and then they don't get the support, when I start seeing stuff like that, then I start to think, oh, that's like subconscious. I don't know if it's conscious or subconscious, but my mind is telling me you're doing that because that's your way of being like, this is my body. This is my vessel. I'll do with it what I want. So for me, I kind of feel as though I don't understand how people don't understand that it's wrong to release pictures like that. Because some of the girls were like, oh, because I was going somewhere, but I forgot. Girl, y'all know what I give. But the point is, I was reading some of the comments and the girls were like, oh, well, she should never take the pictures. Oh, she a hoe, she a this, she a that. Okay, I don't even like this bitch. But listen, wrong is wrong and right is right. Rob, you chose to lay up with this bitch. If she was a hoe, you knew that before you got in bed with her. Okay? Now, I said, I'm almost certain I said on one of the podcasts that we did, one of the episodes of The Code, I'm almost certain that I said it was a mistake. And now look at all this shit was arriving as a result of you dealing with this bitch. You understand? So for me, he's wrong. It's like he was right at first, but what made him wrong is when he decided he was going to leak this bitch naked pictures. That's not how you handle that. That's not how you handle it. No, because then he was like, oh, you do drugs and you do this and you do that. He releasing the pictures. It's making you look crazy. And even if what you are saying is true, you going about it the wrong way, boom. That's it. That's just the whole bottom line. I do believe that China is trash, but it's not because of those pictures. It's just because I feel she's trash. Her and Amber Rose. I feel like they don't really have no real talent. I feel like they don't really bring nothing to the table. That being said, it don't make it right for you to do her like that. I'm sorry. It just because she was a stripper or whatever the case may be, don't make it right. You already knew what her lifestyle was. You knew how she carried. You knew she was doing drugs before she had the baby. I'm sure she was, whatever you complaining about now, I'm sure that ain't nothing new. And so for you to sit there and, oh, she did this, she did that. Girl, you was along for the ride. What it is you're mad that she played you to the left. Girl, she came in, she got this good old-fashioned Kardashian dick, took that Kardashian check, got her little spinoff show with you. You extended her 15 minutes a little while longer. And so, girl, she was impressed. Girl, once she got the child out of it, that's going to ensure that she's going to get a regular check from you, girl. Once she did what she had to do, girl, just like Janet, she paid you. Janet said, how long do I have to be with this Arabian bitch before I can bounce up out of here? 5 years? And what are the caveats? No caveats? Girl, didn't they say she literally filed on the exact day that if she filed on that day, or if she did it 5 years from that point, that she would get like some ridiculous amount of money? I don't even know how much it was, but wasn't it like 50 million or 500 million? Like, it was some ridiculous sum of money. I'm like, Janet girl. It's like, okay. She done converted to Islam for this Negro. And Jehovah's Witnesses, it's hard to break them out of they situation. Because it's like, I'm not going to say it's a cult, because by that logic, all religions could be a cult. But let me just put it like this. They take that shit very seriously. And so, you done broke Janet out of the Jehovah Jireh conversation, girl. You done broke her out of the what do they call that shit? The Kingdom Hall? You done got her about the Kingdom Hall? Oh, okay. Yeah, not for long, bitch. She right back in the motherfucking hall. Breaking bread, girl. She ain't sweating you. Eating pork, whatever she want to do. Like, she ain't sweating you. And so, what I'm saying is, even though I feel China is a hot mess, you knew she was a hot mess. So you have to take some accountability too, Rob, because you knew it. But see, what it is he's so insecure and he's so broken right now that he was willing to be with anyone that just to be with them. But see, my conversation is, he has the opportunity right now. You may be broken, but in my opinion, beautiful things spawn from broken things. Do you understand? I feel like, look at a mosaic. A bunch of fucking broken glass. Now, one person may look at the broken glass and be like, 7 years bad luck. Another person may be like, girl, fuck that shit. I'm going to stick this shit up in here and make this shit glisten. And it's going to be a one of a kind. It's going to be special. When you walk in, it's going to make a statement. See, there's two ways to handle it. I already said this. I think I talked about this on the live show. But I'm going to repeat this shit right here again because I think it's so true and I think everybody needs to know it. Let your story and whatever you're going through, your depression, whatever you're feeling in your heart, let that open doors for you. Don't allow that to shut things down for you. Don't allow that to block your blessings. Don't allow that to shut the fucking door. Because there's someone out there who needs to hear your story. Don't allow for bullshit to occur as a result of you not being on your A game or as a result of you making poor decisions because you feel like, well, what's the fucking point? Whatever, I'm fat. Because I feel like he felt like, look at me now, like, girl, like he probably felt lucky to be with her. But I feel like he's at one point, weren't they trying to say they were going to make him the spokesperson of like Atkins or something like that? Some type of diet situation. But he couldn't stick with it. And I'm like, use your story. Because then here's what's going to happen. Once you lose the weight, do a commercial, do an interview, and let people know, like, I was so depressed. I was just like you. I think there's so much power in that. Like, being able to relate to people and connect with people on a real level. But he, like I told you, he got with China, and before you knew it, it's like, now it's this whole restraining order. And you really want to bring your daughter, and that's the thing, you ain't even thinking. Because whether you like China or don't, that's still the mother of your child. And that was your choice. So it's like, you going to disrespect her like that and have her naked pictures out there? Because when your child comes of age, those pictures are still going to be out there, girl. You don't understand that? So, that's all I really had to say. I wanted to just come and serve you this quick table read. I had a few things on my mind. I'm working on the gameplay, but I'm having issues. I don't know what's going on, but I think I may need to do is just reset my computer. Because I feel like, in particular, I think I'm going to retire League of Legends gameplay because for whatever reason, I can't get that quite right in terms of the quality. But I need to reset so I can get the Sims gameplay back popping. I know you guys enjoyed that, so I want to get those back popping. Oh, and in closing, I want to say this because I told the individual that I would say it on both the live show and on a table read. I want to make something very clear. I love you guys. Each and every one of you, whether I address you by name every time I come here or don't, I see you. Every time when I get an email saying someone's a new patron, I see you as you enter the restaurant. So every time you come, I kiss the screen and I thank the universe. Thank you. So I've kissed each and every one of you on the forehead before. I have love for each and every one of you. What I don't want is to tarnish the platform by bickering. I feel like we've gone beyond it, but I just want to, on the $10 tier, make it clear that, as a family, we're going to have hiccups and we're going to bicker, we're going to argue, but that doesn't mean that there's any love lost, or at least it shouldn't. You understand what I'm saying? What I'd like from this point moving forward is let's take a step back. We had that little hiccup and we dealt with it. I said what I had to say. The individual said what they had to say. We've spoken since then through Twitter, through the DMs. Everything is okay. I don't want y'all coming here to argue because you're spending money to be here. Have a good time. I don't want you arguing. It ain't even that deep. Because I want to make you smile, boo. I don't want to make you frown. I don't want to make you get all those frown lines up in your forehead because that's not why you're here. I'm here to make you laugh. I'm here to love on you. I'm here to uplift you in some kind of way if it's possible. Like, that's what I want to do. So just keep in mind that this is a family situation. It's a family energy on this platform. And we're going to disagree. But when we disagree, that doesn't mean that the sky is falling. It's all over with the shout. No, because that's what families do. I guess, when I thought about it, I'm like, I guess it wouldn't be natural if we never had any issues. But we had the issue, we dealt with it, and now we're moving forward. Lastly, I bought this back brace. I will say I feel like it's doing a little something. I don't know if it's placebo or if it's really working, but it does feel to me that I'm getting some support. And what I did was I got the one that had no latex, because the last time I wore this type of situation, it had latex in it and it broke me out horribly. So now I see that I'm allergic to certain types of latex, because I had to do some research into because actually what I had was not even, it wasn't for my back, although I would use it for my back if I'm being honest. It was more like a waist trainer situation, just to kind of, something for you to wear while you're working out. But make a long story short, I just reacted really badly to it. So I Googled like the ingredients, like what it was made of, and this, I think it's this substance called neoprene. And then I Googled reactions to neoprene, and a girl had opened up a whole, first of all, you never want to go on Google searching shit, because ultimately you're dying. Like anything you type up in there, ultimately you're dead. Like if you put something in there and it's like, oh, my toe is hurting, you know, I stubbed my toe, but it's been about 5 days, it still hurt. You're dead. There's a blood clot in your toe. As we speak, it's traveling to your heart, girl. You have 30 seconds to live. Like, you've been done hit Google. But see, that's the reason why when I go to Google, I'm very specific. I'm very specific. And when I'm reading stuff, it's like you got to take certain things with a grain of salt. And you have to be, you can't just read everything and take everything to heart. You have to read and apply it to your specific case and see if the shoe fits. Because a lot of times the shoe don't fit. And not only just that, but then a lot of times you'll read some shit where it's like, okay, I don't fucking know, you have a skin condition, right? But maybe you haven't diagnosed a skin condition. So maybe it's fucking, what is it? What's that shit? Is it plaque psoriasis? Don't quote me on that. I don't know if that's the skin condition I'm thinking of. But isn't that the one where it's like scaly and flaky on your arms and shit? Like different areas of your body? Okay, so suppose you have plaque psoriasis. You've been doing Google, what's going on with my skin? My skin is looking weird. Girl, there's so many other diseases that could match the description of plaque psoriasis. You gotta be, no, ultimately you probably should just go to the doctor, but I understand that it's so expensive. Like, that's what kills me, you guys. Like, it's like the fact that people don't go because they can't afford to go is a shame. We should be ashamed. Like, this country as a whole, it's like people sitting at home dealing with shit, don't even know what's going on because they can't afford to go to the doctor. Like, it's crazy to me. But in the interim, if you're going to go on Google, just know that Google is always a death sentence. So you have to be very careful when you're Googling, and you have to be very careful to be specific. Don't just put in rash. Be specific. Okay, what are the symptoms? What does it look like? How does it feel? Like, that's good. That's what's going to help you. Because for me, I didn't even know I was allergic to that shit. I was just like, what the fuck is going on with... Because the whole area where I wore it, I was like, what the fuck? And for a while, I'm thinking, what, am I breaking out in hives? Whatever. But I'm like, no, this isn't hives. And then I started Googling, and I'm like, okay, allergic reaction. Like, my mind knew what to search up. I'm like, allergic reactions to latex. And I started looking up, and I'm like, oh... So it's so... I know... It wasn't latex, it's neoprene. Because I know it's different. There's certain... It's not all the same, but that's what that thing was made of. So now, it's like I haven't worn it since. And since I stopped wearing that thing, skin is perfectly fine. So, just be careful. Just be careful, because Google will have you losing your goddamn mind. So that being said, we're going to wrap this thing up because, what time is it? 1:20? Okay, we're going to wrap this thing up. I love you guys down. Like I said, I'm still working on your plates. So, by the time you see this, there may be 3 or 4 plates collectively coming down the pipeline at the same time. So I love you guys down. I just want to sit down and have a chat with you. You already know the drill. Via Sublime, Jalita Galisam, the best will always come through. And as always, until next time, baby, that's all there